Let's try it again with sound. So this is the project, and I'm hoping to get this thing to stop putting garbage on my screen. Okay, so we're up here, simple exe hacking. This is where you cheat at Windows games. That's why it's fun. So the first thing is you need OllyDbg. You should already have it by now. And you're not going to use hash calc, that you just use the command line. We want to verify a hash value to make sure the PuTTY is correct. And it's the SHA-256 hash you want. So I've got PuTTY. Let me clear and do a directory. I put it on my desktop. There's PuTTY. To make sure it's right, I do get file hash algorithm. And the one I want is the SHA-256 from PuTTY. All right, so then SHA-256 hash starts with 9F9. And you can see here, that's the right answer, 9F9. So that makes sure I got the right program to start with. You have to have the right program or you won't be able to get the flags. So now that you've got it, you should run it to see what it does. So let me get to my desktop. Here's PuTTY. So you run it. And we've played with this program before. Microsoft is going to complain about running it because it came from the web. I have to click more info and run anyway. All right, now it runs, and it needs to have a server to connect to. I can use one of mine, ad.samsclass.info. And when you open, the first time, it'll ask you to approve going here. And then after that, it will connect. And when you connect, it says login as. It's now asking me to put in a username, and later it'll ask for a password. I'm not going to do any of that. All I care about is the functionality of this program to get to the point where it prints out this message. We're going to modify it so it prints a different message there, just as practice as using debugging. And let me do what I forgot to do last time and check for comments in the Twitch. Okay, good, nothing new. All right, so we run OllyDbg. All right, and we load the program in OllyDbg. I don't have administrator rights, but I don't need them. I'm doing userland debugging. So I'll open the PuTTY on the desktop. It loads and is not running. It's paused. Now you could run it in the debugger. You can hit this F9, or you can hit this run button here. That'll run it and launch it here, and you can play with it that way. That's one way to go. Now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cancel it. And now it's stopped, terminated. So I'm just going to do a debug restart. Like I say, when you hit a funny position, I just do debug restart to get it back to its original state where it's loaded the program and it's not running it yet. And I'm just going to try to get my window back to its default state here. I resized it for a later part here. And oh, there's the hex dump. That's all I need. Good. Okay, good. All right. So what I want to do, I want to find the message where it prints login as. So I right click here and I search for all referenced strings, all referenced text strings. This is a great feature, and unfortunately, they don't have it in WinDbg. Really handy. Now make sure that you're actually looking in putty.txt here. If you ran it and broke it somewhere, you might be inside a Windows library, and then you're not going to find what you need. And it searches only from the current string. So go to the top and select that. And now you can right-click, search for text, and I can search for the text login as. So I say OK, and I find here it uses that string login as. So I want to put a breakpoint here. I'll press F2, function F2 on a Mac. And now search next, because there's another one. I put a breakpoint there also. And if I search again, there's not a third one. So there are two places where it prints out that message, and I don't know which one is the one that it's using. So to find out, I put breakpoints in, and now I run the program. So I run it. It pops up here. I give it the name of a server, ad.samsclass.info. I just need any server that's listening for SSH and say open. Now it pops up the box. It's about to print that message and it hits the breakpoint. So now I know this is the command that prints it, 41CB6E. So I don't need the breakpoints anymore. I just used them to find out which command is going to print it. So I'm going to get rid of the breakpoints with view breakpoints. And now I can just right click remove, and right-click remove. Okay, so now the breakpoints are gone, but I found this instruction. Now, let me check for comments in the Twitch. Okay, good. All right. So now, first thing I'm going to do is just take one letter out of the message, a small change, just to show I am able to change the code. So I'm going to right-click here and follow in dump immediate constant. That's going to show me this is pushing an address. You see it here, 0046 7C 7C in little endian order. There it is. It's going to push this address, and then it's going to print the message at that address. And you can see it down here. That's that address. It has this message, log in as : space, and then a null terminator. So if I go to 7C 7C, it'll print log in as. If I change the 7C to a 7D, it will skip the first letter and print login as. That's what I'm going to do. So I right-click here and assemble, and now I can change the assembly code of that command. I'm just going to change the 7C to a 7D. Then say assemble. It'll turn red, indicating I've changed it, and then cancel. That's all the change I made, but if I start at D, it's going to skip the first letter. Now, I'm going to save the modified program. Whenever you make a change, you right-click in that area where you made the change, and then save from there. And you'll get the changes in your new executable. So copy executable to executable, all modifications, copy all, then right-click, save file, and on my desktop, I'm going to make it putty mod. All right, now I'm done with Olly for the moment. Let's see how this putty mod works. Run the putty mod, give it the name of a server, say open, and now it prints login as. The L is missing. And here is where I want to throw some mud on Microsoft. For decades, we've had a process called code signing to prevent people from modifying code. If you look at the properties of the putty executable, it has a digital signatures tab. That tells you the name of the designer, name of the developer, Simon Tatum, and if you look at the details, it tells you the signature is okay and when it was signed. This is signed code, which means it has a checksum, a cryptographic proof that this file has not been modified. So why was I able to modify this code? If you look at the modified version and go to properties, it still has a digital signatures tab, Simon Tatum. When you look at details, it tells you it's not valid. So why did Microsoft bother implementing code signing, noticing whether the signature is valid, and then do nothing about it? It should refuse to run something with an invalid signature, or at least pop up a box warning me, this file has been modified. This is fishy. I could have put malware in there. But anyway, that's Microsoft for you. They do a lot of strange things. All right, no new comments in Twitch. All right, so now we're going to modify it another way, so you can see that. Let's start from the modified file with Olly. So I'll open putty mod. I don't have administrator rights, but I don't need them. Okay, I open putty mod. Now I want to go modify that same area, so I'm going to right-click, go to expression, and it's already filled in because I typed it in last time. It's 41 CB6E. That looks right. Let's go there and see if it looks right. It is right. That's the push putty mod. That's the thing I changed to 7D. Okay, so now I'm going to dump that down below again. Follow in dump immediate constant, and you see down here the message login as. Now I'm going to modify. Previously, I changed the assembly language up here to get there. Now I've scrolled away. I'm just going to dump it again. Follow in dump, immediate constant. Okay, now I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to modify the data section here, not the text section. So I'm going to highlight login as, right-click, binary, edit. Now I can modify it. I could type in hex values, but I can also type in readable characters, so I'm going to put in badness. And then save that. It turns red to show me it's changed. Now I've changed the characters that were stored there. Now I have to save it from here if I want to get those changes. So right-click, copy to executable file. Now right-click, save file. All right, and I'm going to put that on my desktop, and I'm going to call that Putty 2. All right, now I'm done with Ollie. Now I run Putty 2. Give it the name of a server, ad.samsclass.info. And now it prints badness. So that's what I want. I was able to modify it this way, and you'll get a flag just by doing that. So we go to my instructions. All right, so you do these modifications. There's a couple flags you find showing you've done this, altering the login message of Putty. All right, and now we're going to cheat at a game. So I think I don't even need to look at the instructions to do this because I just did it a few minutes ago with the sound off. So we download this game, which you can play in a terminal. I put it in the downloads folder. So if I do cd ... it takes me back home, and cd downloads gets me in here. And if I do a directory, here's the game 0000.exe. You can play this game. It asks you for what the launch codes are. And if you get them wrong, it says, I think my dog figured this out before you. That's it. It's not a very fun game, and you have to guess a number, and all we know is you're getting it wrong. What's fun, this game is not much fun to play, but it's fun to cheat. So let's go and cheat. We run Ollie, and we load it. I'm not an administrator, that's fine. We load that game here, 000. And this game was carefully written so you can easily understand the assembly code. And that's why I had my window all changed here. I'm going to try and change it in a less drastic way this time. All right, because I just want to show more of the assembly code, because unlike most programs that are big and complicated, this program is very small and easy to understand. There. That is all the assembly code for this program. And you can easily read it right here because it calls normal C libraries. It calls putS to print out this message, launch code. Then it calls scanf to read a number from the user, %T is for decimal number. Then it does something, and then it prints either wow, you got it, or I think my dog figured it out. So now we understand what it's doing, and we can look at what happens in here. It does add, move, call, it does something. Then it does a compare and a jump not zero. That's what an if statement looks like in assembler. You compare something, and then you jump if the result was not zero. So this stuff up here, which I don't really understand, must somehow take what you put in and go find the right answer somewhere, and then compare what you put in to the right answer. And then if it matches, it will go to the win message. If it doesn't match, it'll go to the not win message. So the JNZ here, if it does this jump, it will go to 205A, and 205A is down here. That's going to print the message saying my dog figured it out before you. So doing the jump means you failed. So what I'm going to do is not do the compare and not do the jump. So I just right-click on this and assemble. And now instead of doing a compare, I'm just going to do NOP, which is nothing. And so it's going to fill all those bytes with NOP. And if I just click assemble a few more times, it'll move down to the jump, and I'm going to assemble there too. So now I've made a game that will ask you for a number, then not decide whether it's the right number, but just print the win message. Every number will be okay. This is a simple way to make a game you can cheat on. So now I'm going to save this game, right-click, copy to executable, all modifications, copy all. Now right-click, save file, and I'm going to make it 000 mod in the downloads folder. And now that should be a game that's more fun to play. I'll open PowerShell and go into the downloads folder, to a directory. There's the 0 mod. So if I run the 0, to make my window higher there, I run the 0 mod and give it a 1, now I win and get a result. So that's a way to make the game so we can easily win. And so there are some flags you can get here. With this game, you can patch one of these and you'll get a flag. And then you can patch more of them. The original challenge had 67,000 of them you had to patch in several different categories. I've made subsets of here. There's one where you have to patch 3 of them to get the letters that come out. And then there's one where you have to patch 19. And then there's one where you have to patch 256. So if you want to do these high point extra credit ones, you're clearly going to have to automate it. I wouldn't do 19 or 256 by hand. I would use Python. And I have an example Python code you can start from there. There are other ways to do it too. Other people actually, instead of cheating at the game and running the game, they just found when it prints the winning message, found out how to extract the bytes that have the winning message and just take those bytes out of the file with Python. That's another way to do it. I just did it by patching and running the game in an automated fashion. But there's a lot of possible solutions. If you feel like getting extra credit, you can try the tough ones. If you don't, you can just skip it and go on to another project. But that's what I wanted to show you tonight. Let me stop this recording.